priority marksman available. And considering there's no Corki, no Varus, no Ezreal, the Rakan, they were suspecting JDG to go with the Xayah Rakan angle.
I mean, missing's Rakan. It's on a 27-game win streak in the league, so taking that away, I feel like, is warranted from Missing, who has struggled. But you give away a huge power pick in Jayce, which uniquely for JDG, playable by both Ala and Scout. It's primarily been, it's 2 and 2 for each. Now, making this choice, you do secure the AShe for JackeyLove. JD Gaming has not really played this. It's only been one game of AShe for Peyz throughout their play for the entirety of the split. However, it has been a very big pick for Top Esports and JackeyLove if they want to go for it.
The quick swap over to the Gragas.
Signature 369, man.
Yeah.
That is a patented 369 pick coming out.
I'm curious if JDG, upon seeing the Gragas now, want to immediately send the Jayce into the mid lane, or if they think that this is completely a fine matchup that you can just trade grass procs with the Gragas.
You could put the Gragas mid into it. You can, right? You have some of the flexibility there. We usually see Gragas top or jungle, but mid Gragas, if you get the right matchup, I think it's perfectly viable. We saw it emerge, actually. I know Niski's was really good over in the LEC in an Ahri meta as an answer. But speaking of answers here, we have a Ziggs and a Leona locked in, so a lot of pressure for the AShe.
LeBron Peyz!
Yeah, the Braum Peyz is back. Gotta imagine that was going to
Fable.
be a Braum for Chris, probably. I just catch Leona engage, and you have the AShe already. That feels pretty good. You would need to find main engage elsewhere, but yeah, I think your choice here is between Braum and Poppy, and it will be the Braum locked in.
Curious if JDG try to ban the Poppy away, as it could still be a potential jungle pick for Kanavi. You would make it so that your engage is limited to just AShe Arrow in terms of reliability. Otherwise, you are hoping for a really good angle on an explosive cast from 369, and that's not necessarily the easiest skill shot to line up for an ideal pick, since it scatters everyone from the blast point or the impact point of that ulti. But I appreciate that Top Esports are still keeping an eye out for Shun's carry jungle champions, sniping away the Kindred, keeping that away from him. Maybe the other.
Yeah, I think a Maokai ban is pretty warranted here, as that could be played top as well. I actually think that tells me it's more likely to be the Gragas top, which of course it is a 369 special, but just with the Jayce showing, I'm going to say technically it's a triple flex right now. If Creme, I'm not expecting Creme to pilot it. I know that 369 and Kanavi can play this champion at a really high level, going back in their history too. But yeah, the Viego ban definitely telling you that they think it's a top Gragas for 369 as well. But curious what top ends up going for here. Imagine that they take I would take a mid laner here, unless there's a jungler you really want to blind. But if you take a mid laner, then you still threaten the Gragas flex, and you can at least take a matchup in the Jayce that you like.
This would be pretty bold from Top Esports, just to continue taking away Shun's most recently played champions. And the fact that the Lee Sin is sniped away, Kanavi is throwing down the gauntlet once again, trying to put Shun into a champ pool corner and just taking away any high impact champion.
I mean, I just play Sejuani, man. That's what Shun should do, and honestly, I think what Kanavi should have done as well. Yeah, free matchup now into Lee Sin, and you can get double melee solo laners with the Sej. I think this is a huge mistake in draft from Top Esports. Sejuani fits the AShe Braum profile so well, and to give that over and give over all this strength now to JDG, they're going to self-counterpick themselves top with the Jax, but keep in mind, the Gragas neutralizes the Jax, and Jax can overtake that matchup in the late game, and Sejuani can actually help you break it too. Just really surprised about the choice here from Top Esports to slam the Lee Sin, and now Creme looking for his pick. Mel, you can, like, firing back a Glacial Prison, not bad. And play around, like, deny Leona engage too.
Cubby, this is our first Mel of the LPL. We have seen it completely disregarded as soon as she was globally available. We saw her picked up in the LCK a couple times, but never once the LPL. And now Creme has the honor of piloting the daughter of Mbessa for the first time here.
I gotta say, I do like the Mal pick here for Top Esports. I still think that going Leon 4, giving away the Sejuani Jax was a bit of a mistake, but I think the core for top esports, all the disengage you get with a Gragas and AShe, Braum, and now a Mel to dissuade some of the engage tools as well from JDG. That is actually a pretty smart play. So, nice angle for the first Mel coming out in the LPL from Creme, and we'll see if it ends up being big.
My only concern, Matt, is that while Creme has definitely developed his control mage playstyle from his notable melee assassin playstyle, it still doesn't give the full most confidence compared to, you know, what he was hovering on the signature Akali, right?
But I think it's fine though here.
Yeah. I think this is legitimately a good angle, you know.
I think it is too.
And I would be insanely confident, you know, it just given the context that we know about Creme's playstyle. But this is a chance to kind of rewrite that narrative, right? And to be able to answer back for some of the flubs he's had on some of the control mage picks so far in group stage, sometimes in the lower bracket up through this run. But being able to pilot the first Mel in LPL, and if you were able to pull off a dub with it, it's a great way to solidify top esports' momentum and give them match point against JDG.
You know, I feel like the top esports Jayos were stronger but further away from the mic, but that's just me. I don't know where you're at with that one, Raafaa, but early game, we do have the lane swap wards coming out. I think that the good setup here for top esports actually would be to find the swap. Gragas should be able to play out a third lane from the start. And with the AShe Braum, you can really force the issue early. So do want to see if that ends up being the angle here for top.
I love that the observers are just having a blast, being able to just show off Mel in style.
Yeah. Well, so they spotted Jack's bot. JackeyLove did drop the wards, so we're gonna see the swap come in to actually match the 2v2. A little bit surprised here that we have the option into these more standard lanes. AShe Braum, of course, can be very strong. Any mistake from missing will be punished. And the Gragas can push Jax around a little bit early. But I thought Gragas would be really nice for the 1v2, and then the AShe would just push faster if you did end up sending the AShe Braum bot. So, yeah, I would have been surprised we have it matched here from top.
So far, nothing too crazy out of the first couple of minutes in the game. Although, missing getting tagged by the Braum passive, combined with the AShe auto attack slows, leads to a deadly combo, and Missing does lose a large chunk of his HP. I want to see, though, from top esports, how they're going to make the best use of this Lee Sin. Because, like you said, the utility of this champion compared to something like a Sejuani is going to pale in comparison and be just that much harder in execution. You can still be a fantastic Lee Sin player, but you have to work so much harder than on the other side of the matchup in Sejuani.
Like, you're going into Sejuani, Leona, Jax, the onus of execution on this Lee Sin, it's really high. And Kanavi is a fantastic Lee Sin player, right? But still not an easy setup for the pick to be successful in this game.
Good root by Creme.
Yeah, I will say, I'm with you on Creme's control mage play not being the best, but Mel is so damn easy. I just think the Mel is piloted by everyone. Your one real, true skill expression is how you press W and when. Yeah. And then where you walk. Besides that, it is a very straightforward and easy champion.
Going to be quite a treat once we get a chance to see how those rebuttals are used. Kanavi getting an early look on the Ala. Ward hops in to close the distance. Throws the Judas, still lands it. Just one more auto attack. Kanavi might go down to the last third shot, but the Triumph is going to keep himself alive unless the video auto attack. Oh my god.
He's got the safeguard. He's out. Oh, great play from Kanavi to pick up the kill. Use the W and the E preemptively because he knows that you're going to try and flash the Sonic Wave if you are the Jax. Meanwhile, did see a gank mid. It was repelled by Creme, but he did drop flash in that lower third. But Raafaa, you asked, how can we use the Lee Sin? How can we be effective on it early on? Kanavi skips a couple camps, does make a play, and gets 369. A bit of an edge in the bot lane. Or Yeah, in the
I'm just gonna watch the replay once again. I mean, just beautifully weaved in by Kanavi.
Even that auto attack as he jumped before he got out of range to connect to that red buff slow was so clutch. And then understanding that, I mean, it might have been a 1-for-1 trade, but I guess Kanavi, he went for it, had it calculated, gets away with it. Meanwhile, Shun, do want to give him some props. Looks like he denied the respawn Raptors of Kanavi. So does get a little something for that play for himself. But still, kill going over to Kanavi. And we know how strong Lee Sin can be if he gets to that Eclipse early. That's when you can really throw your weight around and make your mark in the game. So Kanavi already off to a great start.
Yeah, I mean, once again, Top Esports, they answer the question that we posed in Game 2. Are they going to continue throwing hands with JDG and just going for really strong but very volatile early game blitz compositions? The answer is correct. Kanavi pulls out the Lee Sin. Low-key trying to deny that from Shun, since that was one of the champions that JDG went for in their last best of 5 against anyone's legend. And I feel like, you know, Top Esports are really just trying to bang on the fact that if we can put Shun in an uncomfortable state, it'll put them in a greater position. But this 3-man gank onto the mid lane might put JDG in a better spot. And no flash, the repeat gank onto Creme exposes him and gets the first kill for JDG in this game. But 369 might put Hala in trouble. He knows that he doesn't have flash. 369 has the flash advantage as well. Tries to cut him off. He gets the leaf strike out, and he's out of there.
D-Shield's second win going to be enough for Awa to sneak on out. That said, flashless Creme just overwhelmed in the mid lane. Braum can't do anything in that scenario, and Kanavi was not there. Also, let's see what item Kanavi ends up going for. Could be no Eclipse first. Of course, Eclipse really strong when you get it, but for me, the item does fall off a little bit. Because Sundered Sky, Sterix Gauge, Black Cleaver, just the passives, the utility you get from those items are so much better as the game goes on. That looks to be the case. Is it likely going to be a Sky setup for Kanavi, as he is already on the grubs? The Braum AShe really tough to break at this point.
I mean, Peyz is trying to litter the river entrance with bombs, but yeah, uncontested once again. Top Esports being able to secure all 3 grubs of that first rotation. And if it's just the same story as Game 2, where Top Esports make a repeat visit, hang on, Creme might be in trouble. Still no flash. Kanavi is en route to assist Creme in getting out of the situation. Shun is here, tags Kanavi, tries to shut him down, but Chris, it has the first rotation over, but they still have to bail. Kanavi safeguards over to Creme. Chris might be in trouble, just pops the immediate heal for the extra speed boost, forced to flash away, but no one on Top Esports dies.
Good try by Chris to use the heal to sneak out of there, but the chase from JDG does end up getting his flash in the end, and now Kanavi does have Smite.
Kanavi, it's secured by Shun, but now they're overextended here. Uh-oh. Oh, baby. We're still fighting in the jungle. Shun is going to pick one himself up onto Crisp, as he did not have flash to escape that one. Kanavi burning, but will not fall. Still maintains a deathless game on the Lee Sin, but JDG starting to really put the pressure back on Top Esports.
And Creme just does not feel useful in the mid lane. I know that he went for this tier, doesn't have the chapter yet, but extended brawl from JDG, they end up winning out. I think that the Jayce made a big difference. The Sejuani made a big difference. They just don't have the damage to move the Sejuani Leona early on. And JDG just kind of end up winning the war of attrition, the top side. A bit of a miscalculation there from Top Esports.
Gonna take a look back at the replay once again. I mean, Kanavi was just trying to greed for this Raptor camp, and Chris was willing to aid in the cause. They thought they had the numbers advantage, but just they're down summoner spells here.
That also a great cancel by Shun onto Kanavi. Make sure that Sonic Wave could not be followed through. Almost goes down to the Super Mega Inferno Bomb from Peyz, but no, I mean, honestly, at least no Steph Curry Peyz yet. Looking a little bit more like LeBron with that miss, you know. Did connect, just wasn't center cut, you know.
That's cold, man.
It's Luka time now, all right?
Oh, I guess that's fair.
You don't know enough about basketball to retort, and that's fine. We're going to get out of this one for you, Raafaa.
Thank you.
Dragon is up, and we do have JackeyLove and Chris making their way towards mid. This will get Creme in a side lane where it feels like that could be the target for JDG. He's quite weak right now.
Now, Top Esports are not necessarily on a huge snowball like they were. Definitely making the rounds for JackeyLove. He has flash and cleanse, but he's going to definitely lose one of them. The cleanse is able to get out of the permafrost stun. Kanavi now finds Missing, and he's completely cut off here. Okay, you know what? That's a nice trade for top esports. Yeah, JackeyLove down to cleanse, but still has the flash, and they get a free support.
This is my issue with Shun and Missing, and I was actually caught out there because I thought that they had a good angle on the JackeyLove, which they did. But you know what you need as a jungle and support to actually make good angles work? You need your goddamn damage dealers. Yep. And these guys were nowhere to be found on the map. So, just, like, again, the plays that we see taken by Shun and Missing, there are so many games where it feels like at times JD Gaming are trying to overcome the mistakes made by their jungle support duo. And this is one of them, and I feel like we've seen Missing have really bad games. And this is one where you're playing Leona and the AShe Braum. That's not an easy setup. You have to be on point and already being down a level 4. We see Missing make a mistake then, and maybe we'll see another one now. Kanavi.
He has kick available, doesn't quite use it yet, doesn't need it. Missing just taking a big chunk of damage. Sonic Wave thrown out just to keep eyes on Shun, and Missing doesn't hit, but it's forcing the jungle support to base, and Ala still remaining here under the tower, feeling the pressure of JackeyLove and Crisp, which does beg for Missing to at least potentially stay another wave in case they want to go for a counter on this 2v1 dive play. But JackeyLove and Crisp, all they're interested in is just getting extra plates and extra gold for themselves as the second rotation of grubs does spawn. Shun is pathing towards the top side, but I think Kanavi is going to try to take advantage of that play and force something on the bot side here.
Yeah, I don't like the setup that we ended up having here for JDG. I think that Creme is just getting a free lane where he should be weak at the moment. And then the Braum and the AShe being able to play into the Jacks. Again, Gragas is able to pick up so much more on the other side of the map. So I feel like JDG, they're going to end up getting the second spawn of grubs, which is pretty big, but just that passage of play, almost feel like top esports are okay dropping this because of the few leads they were just able to pick up. And yeah, Kanavi's just going to snag the one, make it a 4-2 split, and I think top esports pretty happy with that. They'll take the win and take the fact they had good lane matchups for the last couple of minutes.
And something I want to point out real quick here while we have time. Eclipse obviously picked up for Kanavi. That was the item we projected. This is going to give Kanavi a big advantage in this mid game to snowball. JDG, Shun went for an early Locket Rush. So we know that Sejuani is a tank and not necessarily expected to put out damage. But if you go for any other item, like a Bomby Cinder item, you have some base damage. You have some threatening ability. But Locket, complete utility for Shun here. So it really means... Exactly. Yeah. So it means that Shun, if he's going to look for plays, it can't just be him and Missing like you called out earlier. He has to be linked up with Scout. He has to be linked up with Peyz. He has to be linked up with Ala. One of these damage dealers so that these opportunistic picks are actually meaningful.
I actually kind of would have liked Battle Piggy this game too with the Heartsteel.
I agree.
I'm a bit surprised that Shun didn't go for it. Like, just throwing yourself in there is pretty valuable. As again, the comp from top esports, they need to catch the engage and repel it. And sacking your own stats for that when you're the one that has to throw yourself in is a little risky.
The play onto Ala's potential here. He leap strikes over to Kanavi on the way in. Kanavi goes in, safeguards out. Still stunned by the counter-strike somehow. Probably just didn't escape the animation, but there was an attempt from Peyz to try and capitalize on Kanavi being stunned under the tower. The Mega Inferno Bomb used there, but not much damage to really threaten Kanavi's life. It's top esports now. Looking forward to the next objective spawning in 2 minutes here with the Infernal Dragon spawn.
All right, yeah, at least Peyz was able to clear the bot wave and give Ala some reprieve. So I know it didn't connect with the kill on the Kanavi, but did at least try to keep that bot turret a little bit healthier. Of course, the winning lane right now for JDG, it is Scout on the Jayce. That real big power pick making its way to game 3. Gonna make its mark felt. And this Jayce pick has been so dominant throughout this tournament, Raafaa. And to see it in the hands of Scout, too. Someone who was a terrifying Jayce player even before the tank Jayce build was available. Very scary. And likely, we're going to see the damage Jayce set up this game. I think that's very warranted, but honestly going to be a lot on Crisp and Creme to try and mitigate the damage coming through with those Empowered Shock Blasts. Do have tools that top esports can use to try and survive the poke of JDG and also find engages in the back half, looking at the AShe especially with those Enchanted Crystal Arrows. And we'll just have to see if they're on point enough to mitigate the very heavy poke profile that's showing from JDG.
And while we have some time, Matt, The first 2 games didn't really spell out the most competitive back and forth games. It was just, as we said, a snowball after another. But this game 3 feels like the most even state that we have had between both of these teams. And this is what kind of reminds me of the 22 season, as 369 misses or dodges a Glacial Prison from Shun off screen. And 369, it did cost his flash, but he did avoid what could have been a really opportunistic play from JDG.
A decent reaction speed there from 369, who, of course, on Gragas, you have a lot of options what you can build. He is going for the AP ability haste build. We'll see if we end up getting the Cosmic Drive next. As Crisp is going to see Shun catch him, and then with Kanavi here, this Infernal Dragon could be really nice for especially top esports to pick up, showing a little bit more damage in their comp. And they're the ones that are ahead now, so they're going to look for it.
No Sedge ulti available. Still Solar Flare and Mega Inferno Bomb at the ready. But JackeyLove has a giant Crystal Arrow waiting for the right mark to step up.
I think that if I'm top, I'm looking to get JackeyLove 1 base before I can play this. He is sitting on Kraken Slayer with the gold. And not being at that 1 item while Peyz is on Ludens. That might be enough just to force them off the dragon. It does look like top esports realize they're down a bit in items. They don't want to walk into the Ziggs. They already sent Chris back, and Peyz just going to ult the wave to kill it, chunk JackeyLove, and keep the pressure up as this dragon is being taken.
JDG even up the objective score so far, at least in terms of dragons. Overall, 4 grubs to 2. Top esports is going to have a little bit of extra advantage when it comes to pushing on these outer turrets and being able to completely set the pace for opening up the map further and further whenever these champions get a chance to have some solo time with the structures. As we look forward to the next objective, Rift Herald just spawning now, Otacon in 4 minutes. Top esports, once again, not in a huge advantage. JDG pretty much even with them, only behind a few hundred gold. But all their advantages, at least they could be content in the fact that, you know, Peyz is up a little bit in money, Scout is up in money. I want to see if JDG is going to really contest them, and this is where maybe the game blows open.
Curious to have a Rando in second from Shun. Does get some decent value into AShe, as I believe your autos are categorized as crits when they follow up. As you proc your passive.
They're pinging for Scout. Scout has flash available.
Shun's following.
Okay, top esports calling off the play, knowing that Shun is collapsing as well. Oh, 369 whiffs the body slam. The Sonic
dead.
Wave also whiffs. 369 forced to use the cast to try and split Shun away, but the Permafrost stun comes in clutch. Stuns him down. Kanavi blocks the Glacial Prison. Arrow from downtown stuns up Shun. It buys time for Kanavi and 369 to make the escape. And the Sonic Wave lands. Teleport comes in from Creme. And that play completely neutralized by top esports.
Yeah, the TP is the big one, though, because now Alo has access to this bot turret as the Jax. Honestly, I was surprised. I thought that once 369 missed the body slam, of course, you have the long cooldown when you don't hit anyone. Your cooldown's cut in half when you hit someone with the body slam. So he was stuck. Kanavi did a really nice job to help get him out, because that was a bad situation once he did end up missing. And the calamity of that's going to be felt in the bot side, as Ala, thanks to the TP from Creme, had some free time with the turret, and being a Jax, that turret fell.
Yeah, JDG reaping the benefits of a lot of kind of a botch setup from top esports. You know, if it wasn't that for the way Kanavi handled the fight, as you called out, and the arrow from JackeyLove, that could have been a massive advantage that JDG swung for themselves. But they still get the bot tier 1 turret. They have, seems to be, an uncontested Rift Herald, as top esports are now trying to move in and see if they can get vision on this Rift Herald. Still 5,000 HP.
Oh, 369 sending it. He's behind.
There it is. Creme.
All the finds him, though.
Scout. They want to look for Scout. Sonic Wave forces the flash out of the Jayce. Peyz trying to chuck in some bombs. 2,000 HP. Mega Inferno Bomb. They wait for it. Kanavi secures the Rift Herald. He safeguards back to safety on the left side. Shun. No Glacial Prison. They can't lock anyone down. Ala threatening with the counter-strike, but everyone from top esports bails out. It did come at the cost of JackeyLove's flash, but top esports make it out alive.
More tools burned there by top esports. Between 369 lost both of his summoner spells and that flash being down on JackeyLove. Yes, they get the objective, but would love to see JDG punish some of the missing summoner spells that they opened up for themselves with that skirmish.
Eyes on JackeyLove. He still has a cleanse available, but if you bring enough people to the party,
you're
you can cleanse one stun, but you're still kind of locked in place, and you have no immediate escape after the onslaught of CC. So Top Esports are going to have to pay extra resources into keeping their AD carry alive in the next few minutes.
It's going to be on Crisp to make sure that he has space, and of course the ability to buy space for AShe. There's a lot of it in this comp, and I think it really speaks to the faith that Top Esports has in JackeyLove and his AShe. Look, for me, JackeyLove is one of the best AShe players in the world. I think it's him and Ruler that are the two guys where when they get their hands on this champion, it just looks different compared to everyone else. And the ability for Top Esports to make space for the AShe between Lee Sin, of course, who can be flexible. Gragas brings displacement. Braum is the pairing that you want with AShe. And you have Mel, too, who can even reflect some of the big cooldowns that we'll be looking for the Mel and the AShe opening up these fights. A lot of faith put in JackeyLove to execute in this game. We'll see if he's able to do so.
Just a few seconds away before Otacon spawns on the map. Arrow sent out wide. Shun tanks it. As you said, not the ideal target for Top Esports. JDG content with soaking and absorbing that arrow from JackeyLove. Top Esports gonna have to try better luck next time once the arrow comes back off of cooldown.
Yeah, I do believe JackeyLove was looking for missing there. Being level 8 Leona maybe had a look, but the fact that Shun was able to tank that one up, right call from him. As looking at the map, of course, Jax doesn't love the Gragas matchup. You aren't able to keep up in sustain. Late, you are able to split into the Gragas. You don't have enough damage to move Jax later on. So if I was able to get to that point, could be big. But at the moment, it is 369 that has a pretty significant lead. Thanks to that passage of play where he was in the 1v2 scenario, and Alva was really getting pushed around by the 2 to 3v1 that Top Esports had going into him. So buying some space for the Gragas, paying a little bit of dividends here in the mid game. And we'll see if 369 is able to actually collapse down as they just shift the matchup. Oh, we have a fight.
Shun, Glacial Fissure.
369's here.
And sent in. Glacial Prison also used, but missing is the target. Ala looking for a counter-strike, but doesn't send it. Doesn't feel confident in the play. Kanavi flashes, tries to interrupt Shun. The Dragon's Rage. I don't know if it went through, but it looks like it did. It did the damage. Kanavi takes out the Piggy, and now Kanavi in a 1v1 against Ala, but has reinforcements to be able to safeguard too, and that opens up Top Esports to take this Dragon.
Just a great walk by 369. That is what ended up being the advantage. Scout didn't join. He took the outer instead, but 369, who had the Jax jailed in topside, he walked down, enabled Top Esports to look for that play, and just no response from JDG, who were out of position and chose to not contest.
I will say, the advantage is still not a major one for Top Esports. Overall, a better and successful play, but JDG, they're having better trades this time around, which makes me happy as a spectator because both of the first two games have been just steamrolls, but for the first time this series, we're getting an even fight.
369 was already here at the play. Scout was catching that wave high. Did have access to the TP, just doesn't use it. Missing too far up, gets kited out, burned down, and then the Dragon's Rage is chained into the body slam, which is why it looked goofy. But great play from 369 on the back half to connect with that cask, and great follow-up from Kanavi, too.
You can see the mixed expressions of, oh, hey, why didn't Shun go flying from the kick? Oh, okay, we killed him anyway. All right, and, you know, good enough.
It was a heavy Piggy, you know? That Randuin's Omen into the locket. It's like 2 shields. That weighs a lot.
That is true. That is true.
At JackeyLove, oh my god, 79% career win rate. That is ballistic.
I mean,
he really is that good in this champion, though. I think that the way he positions is just next level on the AShe.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the last time we saw JackeyLove's AShe in their previous Best of 5 series, there's that one moment where DLG fully sent it, expecting to take out JackeyLove immediately from the fight, and even though he did go down, he still kited the hell out of that fight and just pumped so much damage, making the full use of his contributions before eventually falling as Top Esports now trying to set up for this Otacon.
I know that it happened off screen, just had the lower third from LPL show it. Peyz sent the ult towards the Otacon. Top wasn't on it. I think it really speaks to some of the pressure that JDG is feeling right now. Close on the scoreboard, but not as close in the game. JackeyLove, can he get to the blast cone?
Maybe a little bit. Oh, he sidesteps the Winter's Wrath from Shun, but he gets jumped on by Scout. He's got Kanavi here for reinforcements. Flashes over the wall. JackeyLove, patient as ever on the AShe, waits for his time and uses his summoner spells beautifully. Beats JDG in, and just like that, it's a swift punish from Top Esports.
decent idea from JDG, but they were completely outplayed by JackeyLove and the support around him. As the crew came collapsing onto the Ashes, JDG, Top Esports did the same. And the comp, it's so hard to break the Braum, the Gragas, the Lee Sin. And for a team like JDG, who we really pitched them as struggling to sync up, especially at jungle and support, we've had desynced fights from them. And if you are not synced up into an Ashe Braum and all the peel that Top Esports is bringing to the table, then fights are going to look like this. As, let's take another look. This is a great look from JDG. But where was missing? He was looking at maybe the Otacon. Wasn't synced up with Shun. Ends up not being able to stop Kanavi. Again, what is Missing doing in this fight? He brings no value to the table.
Oh, looks like he was caught. Anyway,
Yeah.
Top Esports, they're getting collapsed upon.
They got
JDG
Otacon.
are just sending it again. Otacon GAs are being expended in this fight. How much can they get off of this? JackeyLove is sent back to the base. Kanavi just might fall next. He wants to take one and all with him. Scout finally falls to Creme.
Oh no, Creme.
But that is a lot of Otacon GAs being burned by JDG. Not the worst situation here for the blue side team. 369, the only person that survives.
I think Creme unfortunately learned what happens when you Zenith Blade a Leona with your W, because he got sent flying back into the team.
Is that
he was pretty
low?
But good find from JDG on the back half. But again, the initial fight that led to the Otacon being picked up for Top Esports, like, where we're missing is Shun. They just were not on the same page at all. And that really is the struggle. And if you are not on the same page going into this comp, you're going to get kited out and be in trouble. This time, good collapse from JDG. They were able to find JackeyLove, who of course was Sumless. It didn't have the pieces around him as it was this time around. Top Esports being desynced. Braum taken away first does take a lot of the power away from Ashe, who relies a lot on proccing the winner's bites and those slows to create the space. So JDG were able to get something off that, but it is now what has gone from being an even game into a 3K gold lead here for Top Esports' Peyz. Well played from him.
Yeah, really good satchel charge to disengage from Kanavi's Lee Sin. Definitely could have been a kick flash setup to send that Yordle into the waiting hands of Top Esports. Now, there is still a chance for JDG, but they are down a sizable gold amount for the first time this game. What was such an even state for the past 23 minutes finally breaks open off of the botched collapse onto JackeyLove, expending both of his summoner spells, still not getting anything from
Scout.
it. And now Scout might pay the retributions of this fight, having expended his own summoner spells.
Really?
I mean, he's just going to try to take the turret. He's accepting his fate and at least getting some gold back into the pockets of JDG, but it's a three-man collapse. What can JDG do on the other side of the map? There's a dragon to take, but they're not in position to take it.
And Missing was in base and is now walking out, and Shun is following him to base and going to walk behind it. So this Ocean Dragon looks to be a sack that is sole point secured for Top Esports as they blitz their way towards that one, and Ala maybe even on the menu here too.
JackeyLove arrow
369
coming up in 1 second. It's off cooldown. Explosive cast right into the arrow. Ala has nowhere to go, and Top Esports just taking advantage of the fact that JDG's members are not synced up on the map.
I mean, Kanavi's going legendary on the Lee Sin. And again, like, playing comps like this, if your engage isn't sound, then the disengage and the re-engage, the tools the Top Esports has, you're going to be punished. And we haven't seen Shoot and Missing on the same page at all. It's another game of the same story for me. As Missing has been, you know, caught out, chunked out at times by the Ashe Braum. We've seen plays where, again, that mid-game fight where I thought the collapse on the JackeyLove from Scout, Peyz, and Shun was a good idea. Missing was walking to Otacon and, like, walking mid when the fight was at, like, the bot side blue buff. There's so many times where I'm just left scratching my head. And again, when I look at how playoffs have gone for LPL, I feel like I can look at the teams and the support, and I feel like the better support has won outside of Missing. Like, JDG are winning in spite of Missing. And to see him and Shun just not be on the same page, especially after what was a really good game one from them. I called it the best game I've seen from the two of them all playoffs. A bit of a disappointment.
And there's even a couple of early looks from both of them. Unfortunately, Locket Rush Sejuani and Leona does not pack enough damage to make a pick all effective by yourselves. And it just seems like JDG are now no longer just feeling confident about syncing up. It doesn't seem like there's strong direction or strong leadership in being able to really corral and get everyone on the same page.
I also don't agree with the Sejuani build, like, at all. I really feel like you need the stats to at least be able to, you know, eat all the damage and the disengage that's going to come out from top esports. It's not like you don't have ways to proc the Heartsteel. The Heartsteel gives you a lot in the first place. Also, at this point of the game, you'd be looking at an Unending Despair or a Jock Show, which could be really significant.
Oh my goodness, dude! 369 is just putting the shoes on. He flashes away from the slow scout, but he pops the stasis. Not ideal. It was looking so good, but he's going to try to buy as much time as he can. Pops the phase rush, or not the phase rush, it's just another slow. 369, he's getting the movement speed boost from the Cosmic Drive, and he buys enough time to hit the blast cone. Now he's got to deal with Shun and Peyz. And it doesn't look like top esports are really able to get any major objectives off the back of it.
Shun getting the shutdown's a big bummer, too. They could have gotten that one over to Peyz and maybe would have gotten him a nice start towards what will be his 4th item in inventory. As 369, that was a little ambitious from him. Was maybe trying to create space for a Baron look for top esports, but they didn't want to take the risk. And frankly, if I'm top esports, I'm kind of okay just waiting for the upcoming dragon. As Ocean Soul, with all the disengaged tools you have as top esports, and actually going into the poke of Jayce and Ziggs, brings a lot of value this game. I think a lot of the times Ocean Soul, the value is just game pending. This game, you get a ton of value from it as top esports. So I feel like they're okay waiting for this one to spawn.
Obviously not ideal for 369 to be caught out, but they are minimizing the deficit that you get from losing out on a player like that on the map briefly. And JDG are not really able to get a huge advantage off of that play. So as you call it out, 369 back on the map, gonna answer on the top side while top esports await for that soul to spawn in the next minute and a half.
And at the moment, the control of JDG is in the top side, so maybe looking to pull top esports in, or just expecting the top is going to prioritize this dragon, which I feel like is reasonable. But Kanavi gonna still sneak in, take the Raptors, and we'll see if they can get some control back.
Gonna contest over this red buff. Ala winding up the counter strike. He kicks them through Shun, picks up the red buff, I think, but the explosive cask at what cost? Gets punted back into the team. Top esports, it's pork on the menu tonight, boys. Crisp flashes in all by himself, maybe debate in the play. Scout is tagged by the Sonic Wave. Kanavi goes back in, flashes away, gets the shield, is gonna survive for now. 369 trying to buy time with the space. JackeyLove pumping damage with the arrows, pops the cleanse. Chris goes back in. 369 is still alive. JDG are still losing this fight somehow. Top esports, all through the power of JackeyLove's AShe. He's got a high win rate for a reason, and he carries top through that fight.
I just can't believe that top esports dropped 0 members in that one. For how long in the fight were 369 and Kanavi playing with blinking health bars? And now Peyz the one under threat as 369, he's hunting.
No flash available, slows him down. The cast, the body slam into another explosive cask off cooldown, sends the Yordle back to the gray screen, and top esports with a massive advantage are set to close out this game.
That's sadly, alcohol and bombs do lead to something explosive there for Peyz in the back half, but here, Shun is stepping up to take this red buff away. I mean, obviously not worth it at all. You're the jungler with Soul spawning, Baron on the map, and throwing away your life like this for red buff is something else. Now, that said, Crisp engaging like this was a bit of a surprise to me. Takes a ton of damage up front from Peyz, and they fight through the Ziggs, kind of outside of their comp's identity. And that's why this one looks so close. I just can't believe that Kanavi got out and 369 ends up surviving. Like, that for me is unbelievable in the back half of the fight from top esports. Looked like it could have been a lot closer. Scout was really close to getting 2 members in the fight. That said, no one falls. JackeyLove is the one still standing in the back line. And top esports now going to knock down the rest of these turrets that are standing for JDG as Baron's in their hands. Soul is secured. And now these turrets are melting.
Do not let the numbers fool you. 0-0 and 11 AShe does not tell the whole story from JackeyLove in that last fight. He was ripping damage, and it just happened to be the rest of his teammates securing the kills for themselves there. This is probably the most impressive 0-kill AShe I have seen in a game in a long time as Kanavi tries to cut off Scout. He is on the other side of the tracks here. Oh, Glacial Prison right on top of JackeyLove. This is a big moment. Peyz blows him up with a well-timed bomb. And now Top Esports find themselves in a pickle. Scout still waiting for a chance to flank, but Kanavi's going back in. Safeguards out.
He ward hopped?
They've
lost Scout. They've lost track of Scout.
Oh, they don't know where Scout is. He's
they want
just
the
waiting for his
45?
moment. He looks for Creme, the rebuttal, to block some damage, but the Mega Inferno Bomb still goes through. Creme flash to the left side, but he's surrounded by multiple members of Top Esports. Wait a minute, Top Esports. They're starting to turn this one around. Alla gonna get stunned up. The body slam is there, but they're kiting this one out. Scout
369
paying dividends in the back line. Oh, but 369 and Kanavi are enough damage. They don't need Creme. They don't need JackeyLove. They're just fine. As Alla sends it with one more Counter-Strike, is going to use the Seeker's Arm Guard to buy some time, but still not enough. Power of Ocean Soul keeps the core of Top Esports alive as Scout is forced to retreat to the base.
Yeah, frankly, I'm still surprised that Top Esports took that play. I feel like the 5v4 there might have been JDG's best look to have a chance, but no more looks here for JDG. That's going to do it. Scout's alive. Top Esports hit the Nexus. That should be game.
Timers are too long. The explosive cast doesn't land into the arrow, but it looks like they have enough damage, just killing through the minions and autoing down the Nexus. Top Esports advance to match point.
A great core of the comp identity coming out from Top Esports. The Gragas, the AShe, the Braum, the Lee Sin was impossible to break in this game, and I think it really bought the space for the Mel and the AShe to pump out all the damage possible for Top. So I know JackeyLove was the one who was the one being attacked and really focused in the fights, and I thought he played it well, but man, for me, again, the player of this game is 369. His Gragas, he early picked it blind. For whatever reason, JDG picked the Jax into it, which is a self-counter, and 369 really cashed in on that game. I thought that he played the 1v2 really well, played the 1v1 really well, collapsed on the map, and really drove home his lead across everything and helped Top Esports and Kanavi end up with that big game.
I'm just so perplexed that the first 25 minutes of the game, everything was kind of an even state for JDG, and they were holding their own against what seemed like was another composition set to blitz JDG by Top Esports. But the fact that Kanavi was able to get on such a snowball with the Lee Sin once the mid game broke out, I'm just perplexed about what JDG are really trying to accomplish. And we have to go back. It might seem harsh, but a lot of the strength of this composition comes from jungle and support being on the same page and linking up with the necessary damage to make those picks happen. And it's
not harsh. Sound off, Raafaa.
I'm at a loss for words, man. And
okay,
it's almost unforgivable.
It's so bad we can't even sound off. I guess what we're saying.
It's unforgivable, right? If you're gonna have this amount of CC layered up, we didn't comment on it during necessarily the game. We talked about the Sejuani build, but the fact that they went double locket, it seems like they're not talking through who's going to go items, and that just seems like something that should not be an issue, at least for high-level teams.
Or even like who's walking where. I'm honestly excited to dive into some of the tape for this, because I think the entire game we can sum up for JDG as Shunin missing, being desynced in a game where your engage has to be so good that you can overcome the disengage of a Gragas AShe Braum. And that just did not happen for JD Gaming because they were not on the same page with their jungle support duo. And look, I didn't love the draft either. Like, you're asking to get AShe Braumed by going for a Leona there. I think that is something where, again, if you're a team that's struggling to sync up, playing into disengaged comps like this gets even harder. And we really saw Top Esports punish JDG because of their lack of synchronization between especially jungle and support.
Top Esports now find themselves here at match point, Matt. And the way that things are starting to shore up here, we were so excited off of what JDG showed in the first game, where it seemed like, oh, maybe the problems have been alleviated. Maybe the synergy issues are no longer that concerning. But it's now flared up again in back-to-back games. And going into game 4, JDG has no more room to breathe, no more games to really sacrifice. If they drop this next game, it's the end of their split season.
Here we go. Also, just, make my prediction correct. That's fine. Let's see Missing and Shun being synced up counters, and if the play is good or not. I think that we can kind of look at this throughout the replay. This time, Missing, he's stuck from 369. This was a really good walk from 369, which helped enable the play. But hey, they were synced up here. At least they had an idea of the look. It's just that, again, weren't able to sync up everything else. This is the one you can't see Missing walk on the screen, but instead of going towards the blue buff, he's walking towards mid right now. And he refuses to mark Kanavi, which I think is what his job should be. He could have been on top of Kanavi there. Instead, he's still not involved in the fight at all. He walked towards Creme's TP and gets nothing done for the front line and nothing done to try and attack JackeyLove. For me, that was unforgivable because that was a really good look from Scout and Shun. And then here in the back half, like, this is the Otacon play where JackeyLove is down sums. They split JackeyLove from Crisp, which ended up being very good for JDG. But it's Otacon, and the one fight, it's not like you won anything significant in the back half. And again, Scout doom splitting here. Like all the looks for JDG that we're seeing, it's not like these are really close fights. It feels like everything's just really one-sided because of how split they are. And that's the real disappointment with this super team, because we've seen games where these guys are so talented and are able to win just off the back of how solid the 5 players they have on the roster are. But when your supportive pieces can't support your lanes or can't create winning scenarios, it's really tough to win games at the highest level. And that's been really what the story of JDG has been for me in this tournament, is that it feels like they're winning in spite of Missing and in spite of their drafts.
Meanwhile, on the flip side, Top Esports, they're not going to take pity on a team that is not synced up. They're going to take every single opportunity to punish and continue fighting through their advantages and strengths. And the fact that even in this fight, where they lose JackeyLove super early on, things look doomed for Top Esports.
They can't kill Gragas.
Yeah, they can't kill Gragas. They can't get through the Ocean Soul. The amount of sustain that both Kanavi on Lee Sin and 369 have, and just being able to sustain through the not really strong burst damage nor extended sustain damage that both Scout and Ala have on the Jayce and Jax respectively, just means that through war of attrition, they're able to sustain through it and endure.
Yeah, again, I think the Gragas pick, the fact that it was taken 1-2 and played at that level, 369 has been rolling all 9s the last 2 games. I think easy MVP for him in this one. The Gragas was just so massive.
Now that sounds like a reasonable take, Matt. However, I want to remind you,
don't go scoreboard watching. Don't go scoreboard watching.
But I'm not saying to disagree with you. I'm just saying we might see Kanavi Lee Sin get MVP vote just because. And to be fair,
a good game.
The Lee Sin was impressive. The first gank, being able to weave in and get such a huge advantage for 369 to set up that snowball for him was thanks to the Kanavi Lee Sin in the first.
It was. I just think that what 369 did on this map,
sure,
it was ridiculous. For me, it's ignore the scoreboard, LPL voters. Come on. Yes. Dude, LPL has been really based on their MVP votes. I gotta say, I very much agree with this one. 32% damage percentage from the Gragas. That is crazy work from 369, actually. My God.
I would not be surprised if that damage percent shot up in the last fight, just because poor JackeyLove was nuked at the very beginning of it, and they just had an extended brawl. But roll the highlights, because this man deserves it. Back-to-back MVP games. First on the Gnar, now on the Gragas. I mean, this really does feel like echoes of the 2023 JDG that got so close to completing the Golden Road, with both him and Kanavi at the helm, spearheading that charge. This is what Top Esports need from their jungle at top at the most crucial point in this lower bracket.
I mean, him just hunting Peyz in the Ziggs is so funny. And if anyone wants to, talk to you about Gragas scaling and what you can do with this champion later on, Gragas champ's really strong. If you're able to play fights the way that 369 was, this tape, honestly, just a ridiculous map from 369. I thought he was fantastic in this game. He was a comp breaker, and again, just with JDG, this has been an issue for them. This is a pick that was taken 1-2 in the draft, and they have nothing that deals with Gragas. In fact, they really picked into it throughout this draft. So, I really favored Top Esports coming into the day. I feel like JDG have been winning in spite of their drafts and in spite of missing play. And this was a game where it really felt like that came to fruition for JDG. Their draft wasn't good. Missing and Shun were not synced up, and they did not look good in this game.
Well, JDG, you have no more games that you can give away so freely. You are down to match point, top esports, one game away from advancing to the grand finals where anyone's legend sits on the other side of the rift waiting for a worthy challenger. And right now, top esports is the team that seemingly could be that worthy challenger. We're going to be taking a short break, folks. When we come back,